Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, and we're doing something a bit different today. This is just a vlog, or a vlog, however you want to call it. I just kind of want to talk today. Yeah. I didn't think I was going to be doing this, but here I am. And if you saw the title of the video, you know what I'm talking about today. First off, I apologize, for that sound. In fact, why don't I just... That was the sound of my computer going nuts because I was watching the Nintendo live stream from E3. Segues perfectly into what I'm talking about this video. We are talking about E3 today. E3 2017. I watched a decent amount of it, not all of it, but yeah, we're just going to kind of talk about it. We're going to talk about kind of the conferences that I watched and yeah, just kind of my thoughts. So, let's get straight into that. The first conference I watched 3 conferences. Just the actual, I guess, console companies is how how I can say that. Can't even think of words right now. But I didn't watch EA or Ubisoft or Bethesda or the PC gaming conferences. I didn't watch those. I didn't really care. From what I heard, because I did actually like watch videos about their conferences, and from what I heard, I think people were kind of on EA. I heard that Ubisoft had a great conference. In fact, a lot of people are saying they had the best conference. Entirely possible. Bethesda, I heard, was really bad, and I haven't really heard anything about the PC gaming conference, so I don't know. But I didn't really watch that. I generally just watch the hardware developers, and I guess that doesn't include PC gaming. Well, even though they're not developing hardware, which is strange. But I don't watch that because I'm not a PC gamer. I don't like PC gaming. So, actually here, we're going to kind of turn that, here, now I'm a bit more centered in the shot. Sorry. I'm not applying any editing to this video, so we're just, this is basically just the raw video file is going straight to YouTube. So, yeah, anyway. So the first conference I watched was the Xbox conference, and I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good and fun. I was, very excited. They announced the Xbox One X, the more powerful version of the Xbox One. It looks pretty cool. It's small, which was really interesting. It's like maybe twice the size of an Xbox One controller, if that. I'm not even sure. It was really interesting to see how small it was. Which is a big reversal from the original Xbox One, which was this beast of a machine. So yeah, in fact, I actually wrote down a list of games that they talked about at their conference that actually looked interesting to me. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Maybe 20 minutes max is probably what we'll go with. But, alright. So yeah, these are basically just all the games that I wrote down. Some of them I caught, okay, I will have to say this. I caught a little bit of the Ubisoft conference, just like maybe 10 minutes. And so there were like a couple games that I caught in there. So those are kind of at the end of this Xbox list. So, yeah. Assassin's Creed Origins looked pretty cool. I've never played an Assassin's Creed game. I guess I should preference this by saying I've never owned an Xbox console. I've actually never owned a console that's not Nintendo, besides, like, the Atari 2600. That's it. I've pretty much just been a Nintendo guy for a long time. But I've wanted to branch out into the other systems. I just don't have money. I still kind of don't have money. But hopefully we can fix that. I keep applying for jobs. No one cares. But Assassin's Creed Origin looks pretty cool. Again, I've never played an Assassin's Creed game, but just the look of it going to Egypt looks very interesting. It seems like there's some mysticism in there. I don't know if there's mysticism in the other games, but it was interesting to see, like, you know, these giant creatures and stuff, and like, and like being able to control a bird, and you know, and see through its eyes or guide an arrow. It's like, that was very interesting. So I'm wondering how that'll play out. Sea of Thieves was another game on here. I'll try to run down this list pretty quickly. Sea of Thieves looked interesting. The only thing is that the demo they had went a little long, but I thought, you know, just looking at it, looks like a fun game to play with your friends. Maybe even not with your friends. You know, just be kind of a lone pirate out there. That'd be kind of cool. That was kind of undercut because, like, the 10 minutes I saw of the Ubisoft conference, they showed a game called Skull and Bones, which is basically like the more realistic version of Sea of Thieves, which is interesting. Skull and Bones also looked cool, but I think, you know, if you want... Well, I think they're very similar. I'm pretty sure they'll be very different from each other. So that if you want to play, like, the lighthearted Pirates game, you'd probably go to Sea of Thieves, where if you want to play a darker Pirates game, you should go to Skull and Bones. That's kind of just what I thought. Cuphead, I saw, I guess it was last E3, or maybe even the year before that. I don't even know when it was announced. I thought it looked amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing artwork right there. Because it's all like 1930s animation and stuff, and I thought, wow, that's very creative, and everything in there is very creative, so yeah. It's finally getting a release date from what I hear. Apparently it was delayed a lot. And yeah, so that looks interesting, and hopefully I can play that someday. I should say that I am, you know, I'm kind of looking around for a job so I can, you know, make some money. So hopefully, in a perfect world, I can get the Xbox One X by the end of the year. But that's in a perfect world. We don't live in a perfect world, so I'm not sure if I can. Kind of the things that that are kind of on my list of things to buy. First up is the Nintendo Switch, which I'll talk about later in this video. Second is a new computer, because I need that really badly. And third is going to be the Xbox One X. So it's on the list, but it's a little bit down there, so. Crackdown 3 looked kind of interesting. From what I've heard, it's going to have a lot of destruction in it, and it had Terry Crews. Kind of all I can say about that. Metro Exodus, I've heard of the Metro games. I've heard they're really good. And this is another one. Middle-earth Shadow of War. That looked interesting. I thought there was a little too much dialogue. At the very least for, you know, this reveal, I thought there was too much. I was thinking, oh my gosh, dude, just, like, shut up. Just show me some gameplay. But, Rocket League, I think they said is getting a 4K update for the Xbox One X, which is pretty cool. The other thing about Rocket League is it was just announced, basically just an hour ago, in my time. It was just announced to be on the Nintendo Switch with crossplay for Xbox and PC. They haven't confirmed PS4, but I'm sure it'll come to PS4. Crossplay will go to PS4 too. So yeah. Yeah, and basically just to kind of tell you the time, it's about, I'd say 35 minutes after Nintendo's presentation. So, yeah. Moving on. The Last Night, it was like this interesting, like, it was like a 3D, you know, normal world, but the people were pixelated and sort of like items were pixelated. That looked kind of interesting. Don't know much about that. PlayerUnknown's Battleground looked kind of interesting. Looked like a fun kind of shooter. Maybe similar to Overwatch. Um, Dragon Ball Fighter Z. That looked pretty cool. It looked very interesting, especially with the art style that they're going for. And yeah, it just looked like a fun, fast-paced fighting game. I'm currently watching all the way through all of Dragon Ball. I'm currently in the King Piccolo saga in the first series. So I doubt the game would spoil anything for me, but I kind of know the story already because you just hear things because it's Dragon Ball. The Darwin Project, it sounds interesting if only for the name, because kind of what they showed is like, you know, these people are kind of in this survival thing, kind of, and it's like survival Hunger Games, but it's kind of virtual, like even in the game it's virtual. And just the idea, just calling it the Darwin Project, I immediately understand like what they're doing. It's basically you're trying to cut down on population or stuff, or just cut down on stupid people. Who knows? But Code Vein, I think that's that anime-looking game. People said that its combat kind of looks like Dark Souls. Dark Souls is kind of interesting to me. I haven't played it, but I've seen it, like on Game Grumps and stuff like that. So I don't know. That might be interesting. Super Lucky's Tale. This is kind of when everyone was faked out and people thought it was Conker, but it's not. Super Lucky's Tale. It looks like sort of. It looks like a younger person's platformer. I guess like a child, maybe younger than, you know, me, or like it might be too kid for me. I don't know, but it kind of looked fun. I don't know. I still play Mario and stuff, and that's very bright and colorful and stuff, which we'll get into in a minute. It's been 12 minutes. I'm gonna try to speed along through this. Ori and the Will of the Wisps looked very interesting. I've heard of Ori and the Blind Forest. It was very artistic, very interesting. The Crew 2, I think this is where the Ubisoft conference kind of dips into this, for those like 5 minutes that I saw of it. The Crew 2 looks interesting, just like racing with a bunch of different things. It's not just cars, there's boats and planes and stuff like that. So, South Park, The Fractured Butthole. I don't watch South Park. I hear it's good, and I haven't played the last South Park game, so I don't know, but it looks like a good South Park game, so I don't know. And then I already talked about Skull and Bones. So yeah, overall with the Xbox Microsoft conference, I thought it was really good, actually. They showed a ton of games, and a ton of games I'm interested in, and it really made me want to buy an Xbox One X, which I'm going to talk about more in a little bit. But yeah, I very much want an Xbox One X, so good on you, Microsoft, for really selling me on your console. Here's my little golf clap. Good work, Microsoft. Moving on to the Sony conference. I didn't write down any games for Sony. That's kind of a red flag right there. Sony, I watched last night. It was kind of bad. I didn't really like it because they didn't really sell me on a PS4. They showed some VR stuff. And even if I got a PS4 Pro, I wouldn't get VR. I don't care about VR. There were a couple games that were kind of interesting. Monster Hunter World, I am very interested in Monster Hunter, but there's a Monster Hunter game coming for the Switch. Plus, Monster Hunter World is also on Xbox One X, so... God of War. God of War does look interesting. Kind of, we're going into Norse mythology with this. Obviously, I haven't played a God of War game because, you know, that's just who I am, I suppose. This is who I am? What am I talking about? It's because I don't have a PlayStation at all. Yeah, God of War kind of looks interesting, but I'm okay with missing it. I don't really need to play it. Like, unless... Now, like, there was, like, a giant Black Panther in there. And he kind of sounded like Loki from the Marvel movies. So I'm wondering if that's Tom Hiddleston voicing him. That'd be interesting. Other than that, Uncharted looked okay. I would only be interested in it because Uncharted is this, great series that everyone talks about. And other than that, the Spider-Man game looked kind of cool. But, yeah, I did not really like the Sony conference. It was only an hour, which, okay, an hour, that's fine. It's what you do in that hour that really makes it count. They really just showed trailers. Trailers for games, a lot of games we have seen at past E3s. And yeah, I just did not really... There wasn't much there. Like, a guy came out twice, said, hey, we're Sony, then left. And then it was just a bunch of trailers for games I didn't care about. So, Sony, I'm giving you the Roman Emperor's seal of disapproval. Sorry, Sony. You kind of blew it this year. But, so yeah. They just didn't make me want to buy a PS4 Pro. Microsoft made me want to buy an Xbox One X. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on those two. Real quick, we're gonna cover Nintendo. Like I said, I just got done with watching their presentation, so it's very fresh in my mind. They technically did not show a lot, but I forgive them for that because I know they're gonna have directs later. They honestly, E3 is not a big thing for them, honestly. I feel like the other companies, they're like, okay, E3 is our big thing. We gotta go all in on E3. And I feel like Nintendo is just like, oh, E3. Cool, we'll announce some stuff, but we can announce stuff anytime we want because we have Nintendo Directs. That's just kind of how I feel. Obviously, you can disagree with me. But Nintendo, they started off with some games for the Switch. ARMS, Pokemon, Rocket League, which looked pretty cool. FIFA. I don't care about FIFA. I mean, maybe... I don't care about FIFA. Something I forgot to mention with the Xbox One X is that Minecraft is getting a 4K update on the Xbox One X. That's a kind of a tricky name to say. It's getting a 4K update, which is okay, which is pretty cool. Whatever. That's not really what I want to talk about. They also said that there's going to be cross-platform play between Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Windows 10, and Pocket Edition. Not the PC version, because that's its own weird thing. But cross-platform play for all of those. That is really cool. I really like that. And so now, instead of buying 8 different versions of Minecraft, when I get the Nintendo Switch, I can buy it on there, and then I can play it portable or in the dock, and then I could play with people that own an Xbox or a PlayStation or Pocket Edition and stuff like that. That is really cool. So that kind of relates to the Nintendo Switch, which is why I brought it up. Other things from Nintendo, Metroid Prime 4 was announced. They didn't show anything really. They just kind of showed the title, Metroid Prime 4, and they basically said hey, it's in development, and that's it. They didn't show a trailer. They didn't show like concept art or anything. They didn't even really talk about it. They just kind of showed it to tell us that it's happening. Which, on the one hand, come on, you gotta show us something. Why are you telling us if you're not going to show us something? On the other hand, everyone has been waiting for a new Metroid game. Not even a Metroid Prime game, just a new Metroid game. That it did make sense to say, hey, we got a Metroid game coming like next year. Everyone, just be ready. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, we're going to be ready for that. Another thing is that Pokemon, they're in development of a core Pokemon game for the Nintendo Switch, which they said will come out next year. Cool. And kind of, I guess, to hold this over is going to be Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Kind of stinks. I probably won't get those because I'm trying to finish out my Wii U and my 3DS before I get a Switch. I kind of just want to play Switch. So like right now, like during my free time, I'm just playing like old DS and 3DS games so I can basically, once I get a Switch, I can lay it to rest. I can just set it down, on my shelf and just let it sit there. And just kind of switch over to the Switch, make the Switch, basically. So I probably won't be getting Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. And maybe, I don't know, they might do like a third version, well, technically, at this point, a fifth version of Sun and Moon for the Switch. Maybe they'll announce that some other time, but for the foreseeable future, they're most likely working on generation, what are we on, 8? They're most likely, excuse me, they're most likely working on generation 8 for the Switch, so that's alright. What else did they show off? Some Zelda DLC looked pretty cool. New characters, which will bring in new amiibo, which is pretty cool. Not much to talk about that, because I haven't played Breath of the Wild. I have a Wii U, but I refuse to buy Breath of the Wild on Wii U because I want the portable experience of the Switch. So I'm waiting to get a Nintendo Switch. They mentioned Skyrim is still coming out in the fall on Switch, which will have Breath of the Wild amiibo functionality. So you can get like a Breath of the Wild costume and Master Sword. So that's pretty cool. Other than that, new Kirby game looks pretty fun. New Yoshi game also looks pretty fun. And Mario Odyssey, which looks like a ton of fun, and that's actually coming out towards the end of October. Maybe I'll have a Nintendo Switch by then and I can pick that up. So yeah, that is kind of it. I'd say with Nintendo, I did kind of want more announcements, but at the same time, I think we're really good here. I'm sure they'll announce more things throughout the year because they have Nintendo Directs that they can do. And yeah, I am interested to see where they go. So, Nintendo gets the thumbs up, Microsoft gets a thumbs up, Sony gets the thumbs down. So yeah, overall with E3, I'd say I'm pretty much satisfied with it, with the exception of Sony's press conference. And yeah, I want an Xbox One X and a Nintendo Switch. Switch first, though. So, yeah, that is basically it. End cards are going to pop up right about now, I suppose right here. You can click on those, or you could follow 7th Hour Films on Twitter at 7th Hour Films. Link is in the description, in case you can't find that. And that is basically it. I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright, see ya.